Okay guys, I have to confess, I'm absolutely in love with these tumblers. If you guys haven't seen these tumblers before, they are awesome. They are the perfect size. They make it so easy to take on the go. They fit around your hand just perfectly, so they are awesome. I actually created a little tumbler for my Bible study leader. I gave her a little gift after she led us in an amazing study, and I loved how hers turned out. So now I'm back creating one for myself to take to Bible study because hers just turned out so cute. So now I want one for myself. I actually luckily purchased these tumblers in a 4-pack, and I will link them down below for you. And it's a really, really great idea because I purposefully got them in a 4-pack because these make a really great gift idea. So I like having little blanks laying around for gifts. That way when a gift opportunity presents itself, then I can just really quickly come to my craft table. It usually only takes 5 to 10 minutes and I have a really heartfelt gift to give to someone. So again, I've done this exact craft before for a dear friend, and now I'm back doing one for myself because I just loved how hers ended up. So what you're going to need you're going to need a tumbler. Again, I'll link the one that I have and the pack that I bought for you in case you want this exact one. You're going to need some vinyl. This is the Oracle 651 glossy white vinyl. It turns out really pretty. It really pops. So no matter what you put in here, like sweet tea or an iced coffee, I think the white just pops really, really pretty. Even if you have water in here, it just pops really, really nice on the cup. Other things you'll need are a transfer tape. I'll link this one below too. This is my favorite transfer tape. It works beautifully. You're also going to need some type of scraping tool, some scissors, and a weeding tool. We're also going to prep the surface with some rubbing alcohol, so you'll just want to have that on standby as well. And the first thing I'm going to do real quick, again, as always, if you've watched my videos, it's really important to measure your space. That way when you get into design space, you are only cutting your design once and you're getting it right the first time. So it looks like I have about, I don't think I want to go, I kind of want to stay anywhere between 2.5 and 3 inches in width. So I will just keep that in mind as I am going into design space. So the SVG that I'm using is actually a pre-done SVG. So again, that just adds another little plus to this project because it's already pre-made. There's going to be no fuss in design space. We're literally going to upload it and cut it, and then we'll get it on our design or our little tumbler. Okay guys, let's get started.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to this image icon on the left, and we're just going to click it, and I already typed it in. So what you would do is go up here, and I just typed in Grace. That's just kind of the keyword that helps pop up the SVG that I'm going to be using. So what I'm actually going to use is this first one right here, this Saved by Grace. It's gorgeous. I love the whole idea of being saved by grace, and it's just really, really pretty on this little tumbler. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I'm going to insert the image. And I said that I wanted to keep it probably between 2.5 and 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and size that down a little bit. Again, the height is not going to matter because we have a lot of height to play with, but the width, I want to be able to just be able to see what the text says without having to like turn my bottle. You guys will see more when I place it on my design. Okay, so that looks about good. I have a width of about 2.5, a little over 2.5, and that should be just about perfect. And so it's just almost about a perfect square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just color this white because I'm going to be using white vinyl. You can skip that step, but it's just something that's visual for me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to make it, and it's going to place it right on my mat. So it looks like I'm going to need about a 3-inch by a little bit more than 3-inch piece. So I will go ahead and get that loaded on the mat, and we'll click continue. It's just going to find my maker really quick, and then I'm going to be able to make the vinyl selection right here, and I'm going to keep it on default pressure, and we will get to cutting.
Okay, so I have a little piece here. This is a wonderful project if you do have scrap vinyl laying around because it just takes a little bit. So make sure you're always keeping those scraps because you can definitely use them and create some beautiful things out of very little. So it's just loaded into the maker. I'm going to hit the Cricut flashing button when it's ready, and it's going to get cutting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep my little tumbler with some rubbing alcohol, and this is just going to help the vinyl stick better to the surface when it's time to apply it. So I'm just putting a little bit on this cotton swab, and I'm just going to rub all over the tumbler and just get that nice clean surface off, or nice clean surface from the rubbing alcohol. Okay, looks pretty good. I like to do this while my design is cutting just because it gives it ample time to dry and you're not waiting on wet rubbing alcohol on your project. Okay, looks really good. Okay, so that's already done cutting. It's very quick. And I'm just going to remove this little piece from my mat. And before I go and weed it, I'm just going to take my scraping tool and just press down and make sure that everything is in its place. That way it makes the weeding process go a lot more successfully. Okay, using my Cricut weeding tool, I love this tool. It's amazing. It's the only tool that I use. I am just going to start in a corner, and weeding is just removing everything that is not part of your design that you'll be using. So the white space behind that negative space is a place that I will not be needing for my design, so I'm going to start there and remove all of that. Now you can also, in Cricut Design Space, you can create this exact wording if you want to just use a text box and use any type of font you want. But when I saw this, I just loved the text, and sometimes you just think, am I going to be able to even duplicate that perfectly like it is now? But whoever designed this design did such a beautiful job, and I love it. So that was just a win-win because it saved me a lot of time with not having design. So I'm just going to weed the middles really quick, and then I'm going to double check that everything has been weeded out. Looks like I got everything. And then I'm going to go ahead and just trim around. Looks like I have a little bit of excess space. There we go. Okay, maybe this side too. Sometimes it's just easier for my eye personally if I have less to work with, because it helps when I go to lay it down on the tumbler if I just have less, because it helps me center it better. So now I'm going to use my masking transfer tape to lay it down on the vinyl here, and then I'm going to cut around it. I also love that idea of having a 4-pack because of the tumbler, because you can just make a lot of different little sayings and make a little themed set, if you will. That would be really fun too. Okay. So now I'm just going to take this scraper tool and just really scrape that down onto the transfer tape. Turning it over just helps to repeat the process. That way it just lifts really nice off of that carrier sheet, and you will be all good to go. Keeping your, see, that little piece doesn't really want to come up, so you can re-press it down with your scraper tool, and always keep your little weeding tool handy, because that will come in very, very, very helpful, because you just sometimes need to nudge the vinyl along if it's not immediately wanting to come up. You just have to nudge it and encourage it. Okay. So that is actually doing a pretty good job. Oops. There's a lot of little sudden turns when you work with a text that is a script text. and they're all connected, so you have to go really slow, because if you accidentally pull up one, it's kind of like come one, come all, because they're all connected. So you want to just be really careful that you don't accidentally pull up part that you don't intend to. Okay, so what we'll do is go ahead and pick a side. Okay, and I'm going to just use my tools to wedge my cup into place, and I can go ahead and lay down my vinyl. Looks like that was just the perfect size. Okay, once I have it where I want, I can go ahead and press in the center here, and then I will go ahead and just press out to the sides. And that is kind of like preliminary way to get it down, and then you can go back with your scraping tool and really get it down. This is actually a wonderful tumbler to use because it's not really it only curves this way. It's more of like a cylinder and not an oval like football shape or anything, to where you have trouble laying down on a curved surface. If you are working with a tumbler that has more of a less forgiving curved surface, then I'll be sure to link another tutorial that I've done, because I have a cheat for you. If you need help laying down vinyl on a curved surface, then make sure you watch that video. It's definitely very helpful. Okay, I think that's ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and slowly peel up my transfer tape here, and it should be all perfect. And if you see any little bubbles, you can just kind of grab them with your fingernail and smooth them out. It's no biggie. Perfect. Okay, so I remember when I was telling you I wanted it to be small enough to where I could just set my cup down and see the whole thing without having to turn it to read it. That's kind of what I meant, is I wanted to be able to see it just in one sitting and not have to kind of like move my bottle to see the rest of the letters. There's a couple little bubbles, and you could again just press those out and they go right away. Okay, so that was how you are going to create a little tumbler. Again, that is so quick and easy. It makes a perfect gift, so I'll make sure to link these because they are really, really nice, and they're small enough to be able just to kind of take on the go. So what you want to do is you also want to recommend to the person that you're giving this a gift to, I always recommend to only hand wash them, because that will just save and preserve the vinyl better. And then what you want to do is you also want to wait about 24 hours just to let this kind of settle and cure on the cup before washing. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. I have a couple days until my own Bible study starts, so it'll be ready, set, and all ready to go when it's time for my Bible study to start. I can take it. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it, and be sure to subscribe because there are a lot of cool things coming to the channel pretty soon. Thanks guys.